Hey, how you doing? Welcome back for another DIY home improvement video. So today I'm working in the bathroom. We're actually going to install a vanity light. As you can see, this is actually a bathroom that's being remodeled, and obviously there's no light up currently. So we've got a three light vanity light, vanity fixture that we're going to be putting up, and I thought I'd show you how that process works. So in this case, we've got a newly remodeled bathroom, so there's no light to take down. But from this video, basically if you just reverse the steps as far as installing the light, you'll be able to see what it would take to actually uninstall an existing light if you're going to replace one that you have up currently. So now in this case I know that we don't have any power going here because I actually don't even have the switch installed yet, but when you're installing a light, be sure that you have the breaker turned off. Anytime you're dealing with electricity, you want to make sure you're safe, so make sure the breaker, this particular circuit is turned off, and then you can test it with an electrical tester to confirm that there's no power to the wires. Just a basic electrical tester like this, you just put one wire on your positive, one wire on your neutral, and if there was power there, your indicator light would light up. In this case, there's no light. Again, there's no power, so we're safe to proceed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the box so we can take a look and see what comes inside. So that's interesting. This light has been opened before because someone resealed it. You're not gonna find a Ziploc bag inside of a light fixture, and I can see that those are old screws in there as well. So I'll have to take a look and make sure that we have everything we need inside this box. That's a good idea. Good idea to always check first before you tear anything up to make sure that you have everything you need for the installation. So we've got our glass covers, and I'm going to check, since this has been opened before, I want to take a look at these. Normally I don't worry too much about them, but take a look and make sure nothing is broken here. And everything looks like they're in good shape. And then we have the actual fixture itself. And I can see from the wires, this is actually, somebody actually had this installed and they uninstalled it, but that's okay. Everything's here, the fixtures, those lens nuts are there, and we've got the hardware that we need here. So, yeah, and we've got those caps. So that's okay. Even though this has been open, I can go ahead and work with this. There's no reason to return it and get a new one. So just to explain the way that this actually attaches to the wall, you've got this bracket here that basically has a swivel on it, and the way it works is the flat part of the bracket will attach to the wall, and then these two screws that protrude from the bracket, these actually fit through the fixture itself. So after the bracket is installed in the wall, then those screws will come through, and then there's little thumb screws, little finish screws that we put on there, and that's what actually holds the actual fixture to the wall. Now there's a couple different things that you'll find when you're installing a light fixture like this, a bathroom fixture. Sometimes you'll find that there's an actual junction box in the wall, which is always nice. If there's a junction box, then you'll use that, and you'll use the provided screws, and your bracket will actually go through there, and you've got screws in your packet when you receive your light. So that will go up. Very simple application. It's ready to actually hook up your wires, put the light up. More often than not, what I find in bathrooms is that there's no junction box behind the wall. The electrician will just basically poke a hole through the drywall and actually let it hang out, or they'll have it there, and the drywallers will go around it. But in any case, so then your next best thing, sometimes you might be right next to a stud, but I can feel that we're actually in the middle of a stud cavity, so that's not going to be an option. If we were next to a stud, then you could put a drywall screw and screw that bracket straight to that stud, and then you'll have a good solid connection. So in our case, there's no junction box, there's no stud nearby. So really our only option is we're just gonna screw this bracket directly to the wall. And to do so, I'm just gonna use basic drywall anchors, just wall anchors, plastic anchors. So I'll drill some holes. These are, I just looked at the box, these little anchors are rated for 20 pounds a piece. So 2 of them, 40 pounds, way more, much more strength than you need for a little light fixture. So those are plenty strong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold this bracket up to the wall. I already got a drill bit. It's the correct size for those drywall anchors. And I'm just gonna hold this bracket up here next to the wire. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple screws. So I'm gonna put a couple of holes in the wall. And there's lots of room in this bracket. There's so just somewhere in the middle of those slots. So now I'm just gonna take my drywall anchors and I'll insert those into the holes that I drilled. Those are just a little bit snug, which is perfect size. Okay, so now we're going to take our drywall anchor screws. We'll put them through the slots of the fixture bracket. And we'll go ahead and insert our anchor screws. Okay, so once you have the bracket secured to the wall, I'm gonna tighten down that screw a little bit just so that the bracket doesn't rotate. Make sure your screws are perpendicular. The next step is to go ahead and hook up our wires. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take the ground wire off of the light fixture itself, and there's a green screw on the bracket that we installed. So what I'm gonna do is wrap this ground wire around that green screw, the green grounding screw, and I'm gonna snug that down. And that will basically hold that for us, so it'll just hang there and makes it kind of a hands-free process. So from this point, we can go ahead and hook up our wires. So we're just gonna take wire nuts, and I'll start with the ground. I always like to start with the ground and then neutral and then positive is the order that I do electrical wiring. So we'll snug a wire nut up on the ground. Then I'll take our white neutral wire, and I'm just connecting the wires from the fixture to the wires that are coming from the wall. I'll just remind you, be sure that your circuit is turned off, your breaker panel before you touch any of these wires. You don't want to have a hair curling experience. So there we go, we've got our ground, our neutral, and our positive are all connected. Now, all we have to do is take these wires and we're going to kind of coil them up. You can stick, if there's any excess wire coming out of the wall, you can kind of shove that back into the wall and just as neatly as you can, coil up those wires so that everything tucks in and fits in the concave back of the light fixture, and then go ahead and set that over the top of the mounting screws. And then the last step, well, not quite the last step, we're going to take our decorative thumb screws and we're just going to put those over these mounting posts, and we'll finger tighten these. You want to make sure they're good and snug so that the light sits flat to the wall. You may have to kind of give it a little jiggle because there's a lot of wires in there tucked into a small space. And our light fixture is up. Now you might want to take a level just to verify. You can just eyeball it really. But you can take a level and make sure it's level, or you can take a tape measure up to the ceiling on both sides. Really eyeballing it is probably satisfactory. And then the last step is to take your glass shades. and they come with a little kind of a little ceramic or metal nut, and basically your shades just go up over that threaded area, and then just lightly hand tighten those nuts. Those don't need to be tight, just snug so they don't go anywhere. And I'll put these 3 up. And there you go. Just verify that it's level, and we've got a light installed. And I don't have the switch hooked up yet, so I can't flip it on and actually show you. But that's basically the installation. So there you go. That's the basic process for installing a bathroom light fixture. As you can see, it's a really easy process. And if you've been thinking about installing a new light fixture in your own bathroom, just follow the steps, and I think you'll find that you can do it very easily. I appreciate you watching. If you're interested in more DIY home improvement videos, please subscribe to my channel, and we'll talk to you soon.